Hi there, let me take you back to the year 1957. Elvis in Canada.
Well, I heard the news. That's good to rockin' tonight. Well, I heard the news. That's good to rockin' tonight.
Hi there, welcome to your Elvis guide. I'm pretty thrilled that today I'm going to record the first episode with a very special guest. As you may know, it was always the goal of this channel that it wasn't my channel, but it's created by fans. And well, I'm looking for the stories of fans who have great collectibles and want to share things with other fans and tell their stories about it. And if they've seen Elvis, then maybe they can give us who haven't seen Elvis in concert, for example, a piece of their memory. So, well, we all we have to share that, I feel. And on my message, I'm so happy that people responded and wanted to participate in your Elvis guide. And I will say again today that it's a platform that's created by me, but it has to be created by you and everyone who's watching. You're all very welcome to tell your own story, to share your collections, and I would be thrilled if that worked out that way. So we get to see great collections from all over the world and recollections from people in the United States who have seen Elvis or just have any special memories. I would really be proud if that would work out that way, and that would make it real worthwhile. Well, let's go to Canada today. It is some 60 years ago, 61 almost, that Elvis did his first and only foreign tour. 3 concerts, 4 actually, in Canada in the spring of 1957. And Canadian fan just made his movie to tell you something about it. Well, the Canadian lifetime fan Alfred Kloos can tell you all about it, and he shares some of his collectibles. Let's get over to Canada.
Yeah, hi, my name is Alfred Kloos. I'm from Cornwall, Ontario, Canada. And I want to thank Alexander for giving me the opportunity to just say a few words about Elvis. I've been an Elvis fan all my life, and of course it started in 1956. And the first time we saw Elvis, of course, was on the Dorsey stage show. And that's how we became interested in him. And right after that appearance is when I started collecting some of Elvis's records. Shortly thereafter, of course, I went to, I was about 13, 14 at the time, went out and bought his records. And of course, back then they were 78s. As you can see there, I have quite a collection of them. Started off with, of course, Heartbreak Hotel, and then RCA Victor in Canada here anyway released all his Sun recordings, and they released them all on the same day. And of course I went and bought them all. There was about 7 or 8 records, and back in those days it was about a dollar a piece. So from then on I became quite an Elvis fan. I just want to show you quickly some of the EPs, extended plays that I had bought back in the 50s or whatever there. You see the Elvis one there, the Peace in the Valley, Jailhouse Rock, King Creole, and Love Me Tender. These are all 45s, of course. And then there was the single, Love Me Tender. You had Elvis Don't. I Need Your Love Tonight. And Big Hunk of Love there. So these are part of my collections there that I really enjoyed back in those days. In 1957, April of 1957, Elvis visited 3 different places in Canada. He did 2 shows in Ottawa, 1 in Toronto, and 1 in Vancouver, British Columbia. And at the time I lived in Montreal, and they had arranged a special train to bring approximately 500 fans from Montreal to Ottawa to see the shows. And those are the only appearances that he did do in Canada. In Quebec, Canada, which is mainly a French-speaking province, Elvis had, I think, the greatest fan base there. The French teenagers, couldn't understand English that well, and some of them didn't even know what the words meant, but they just loved the music and the show that he put on. And even to this day, they're still some of the biggest fans in the world.
Do you have an Elvis collection you want to show? Do you know everything about the 50s or rare collectible records? Or do you know everything about the Elvis catalog of your country? Are you a movie expert? Do you have rare footage or great stories to share? Well, your Elvis Guide invites you to contribute. Upload your video with proposal on YouTube and send me the link, or send me an email. It would be great working together. Thank you. Bye. Well, thank you, Alfred. It was great to have you on the show, and great that you felt comfortable with kicking off. And I hope many of you will follow. Well, the shows Elvis performed in Canada were big news during the 60th anniversary last year. So here's a clip from Canadian television which celebrates the 60th anniversary of these shows.
On April 3rd, 1957, Elvis Presley played 2 sold-out concerts at the Auditorium Hockey Rink on Argyle Street. Former CFRA broadcaster Gord Atkinson was MC that night and tried to introduce Elvis.
I got out there, and there was such a roar from the crowd. I mean, it went beyond a roar. It was just ear-shattering. There's no way they're going to hear a word I said, so I just turned, and he came out.
Elvis in his famous $400 gold lame jacket.
It was electric. It really was.
With his hair in a ducktail, Ottawa resident Brian McGarry was there that night.
We didn't hear a lot of the show. The young ladies were screaming, yelling, on their feet. And us guys, we were kind of all part of it, but didn't hear very much.
It was that loud.
It was that loud.
But his first song that night was All Shook Up, which had sold over 1 million copies in 3 months. Atkinson, who made a career interviewing stars like Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, and Frank Sinatra, also snagged a rare interview with Elvis Presley that night when he found the King sitting in a change room.
And he had a carton of milk and a cheese sandwich. and there was no way that he could get out of that building.
In that interview, Presley said he had wanted to come to Ottawa because so many people from here had written him.
I've gotten more fan mail from right around in this area than I have anywhere else in the States, in the United States, you know.
Well, that's wonderful. You'll be hearing from
I mean, I don't tell you that because I'm here, but it's very true. That's one reason I've always wanted to come up here.
The boy from Tupelo, Mississippi, had formed a bond with his Canadian fans. It is still alive. Corey O'Kelly, CBC News, Ottawa.
And please tell the folk, don't be cruel to who heart is true.
So Elvis performed in Ottawa, Montreal, and Vancouver, and he did a marvelous press conference in Toronto, in which he was very relaxed and very open about his acting career and his relation with the press. And so it's a very nice. Also, the audio is very good. So here's a few fragments of that press conference, which is very telling about how Elvis felt and how he thought.
Speaking of records, have you got any that are coming out that you've recorded that we haven't heard yet?
Yes, the theme song for my next picture will be out about the middle of next month.
What is the picture?
Jailhouse Rock.
That's a single 45.
Yes.
How did you find Hal Wallace as a producer-director?
He's a very, very, very fine gentleman.
Did he help you out, or who was the big help and aid in your show, Loving You?
Well, there's nobody who helps you out. They have a director and a producer. As far as the acting and as far as singing and all, you're on your own. I mean, nobody tells you how to do that. You have to learn it yourself.
How do you rate yourself as an actor?
Pretty bad. I mean, that's something you learn through experience. I think that maybe I might accomplish something at it through the years.
You think it's just the sake of acting natural? Don't you do that? In your last two pictures, I'd say you have.
In some scenes, I was pretty natural. In others, I was trying to act. And when you start trying to act, you're dead.
Mm-hmm. Would you say the Jordanaires helped you a lot in your career with your songs, backing you up?
Well,
I mean, do you think the assist
the boys have done a very fine job, the Jordanaires have, but actually there's a lot of groups, you know, there's a lot of very fine groups that back different people up on their records.
They are under contract with Capitol, are they not?
Yes.
I know you're under terrific strain after a show. How do you taper down? What relaxes your nerves after a big show like tonight?
Well, take for instance last night we had a show in Vancouver, and I didn't sleep in it till about 10 o'clock today.
How do you feel about being asked questions about your personal life? Do you think an entertainer should be asked myriad questions about marriage and what girls he's going with and so forth? How does that strike you personally?
Well, let's face the facts. Anybody that's in the public eye is their life is never private. I mean, everything you do, the public knows about it, and that's the way it's always been. That's the way it'll always be.
Do you find that touring is much more harder on you than making movies or doing TV shows?
Well, touring is the roughest part. It's really rough because, I mean, you're in a town and you do a show, you come off, you ride in a car, you're going to the next town.
Would you prefer more to making movies and doing TV, or would you rather just stick to movies and records?
Well, I think every performer likes to work to a live audience.
You want to go abroad someday?
Beg your pardon?
You want to go overseas someday?
Yes, I would like to. I would like to. That wasn't me, folks. It's these guys clashing these mics.
Sword fight.
What are your thoughts on permanent retirement?
I'd like to.
Voluntary. On your own free will.
Retirement?
Yeah. What do you think about it? Just quitting. When?
I'll put it like this. I'll never quit as long as I'm doing okay.
You'll never quit what do you consider doing okay?
Well, I mean, as long as you're, as a public, as long as you're pleasing the people, you'd be foolish to quit.
The vast cavern of Maple Leaf Gardens darkened, except for the spotlight on Elvis. Elvis, the Golden Boy, standing there in his shimmering gold suit. Every time he wiggled, they screamed.
Elvis in Canada, one of the extremely rare occasions that Elvis performed abroad. Apparently he did sing a song or two in Paris in 1959. It is rumored that he did a night performance there in the Moulin Rouge Club, but that's never been documented or confirmed. And it might also be that Elvis gave a concert to his fellow army buddies in Germany, but that's also never documented and confirmed. Elvis in Canada, what can I share with you? That's this beauty. Elvis, something for everybody. The album shows a little wear on the cover, but you can see that in Canada the Elvis record had a slightly different cover design compared to the United States release. I always prefer this one above the American one. So here's the, I don't think there's too much of a holy. I don't think there's too much difference in label. I'm not a label expert. But it says RCA Victor Company Ltd in Montreal. So that's where the record was produced. It's certainly not a mint copy, but it took quite some effort to get this with the with the typical Canadian design. It's an 1960 record, something for everybody. That's what I can share with you. Please, if you have a great collection to share or anything, just email me or just email me and maybe you're in your Elvis guide. If you like my shows, please like my videos and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Your Elvis Guide. Bye!
Elvis has left the building. I've told you absolutely straight up to this point, you know that he has left the building. He left the stage and went out the back with the policeman, and he is now gone from the building.